Bullshit Science podcast
with extra bullshit.
I'm Curie.
And I'm Alice.
And she's Demelza.
That works well.
That's our new intro.
Very good.
We literally change it every week.
Our guests don't talk in this bit. Oh, did we not do that bit?
No, we don't have time for the rules.
Oh, for God's sakes, this is your fault then.
No, I
You didn't even tell us we're not allowed to speak. Are we allowed to
Did I
swear?
not?
Like, what's the deal?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, I'll do the
God,
rules.
do you know what? That was such a good start as well.
It was fantastic,
It
which
can
I
feel-
tried to remark on, but apparently I can't speak.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry to everybody in the room.
Okay, right, we're back. We've updated our guests on the rules of the show,
We have.
which Alice didn't fail to tell them.
It's been a long week.
At the beginning of every episode, you're like, it's been a shit day, it's been a long week, it's been a long month.
Maybe next week will be better.
It's kind of reminiscent of our guest podcast, which
True.
I'll tell you about.
Eternal optimism. Or not.
Yeah. I had an MRI today.
Oh shit, I never asked you how that went.
It was really cool. So it's for a study. I went in as a healthy control. Basically, it was for a study where they're looking at the structural differences between this certain type of epilepsy and normal healthy people. But basically, apparently this epilepsy, the structural differences in their brain don't show up very well on imaging. So they're using this really precise image. To be honest, I didn't read his information sheet.
But did you fall asleep in the MRI machine?
No. So I really thought it was going to be a nice 1 hour nap
Yeah.
during my work day.
You were in it for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But it's so loud that you can't fall asleep. And yeah, it was really cool. So I had to take all my earrings out, and I have a lot of piercings, so that took a while. And there was one that I really couldn't get out, my tragus, I couldn't get it out. So then this guy had to come with surgical tongs and like hold onto the back for me while I tried to unscrew it.
Oh Jesus.
But it was fine, we got it.
What
And
an
then
ordeal.
I went with him to see the radiographers, and they set me up. But the really weird thing is, at the beginning, they're like, oh, here are some earplugs for the noise, put them in now. So I put them in, and then they keep telling me stuff. And like, I can't fucking hear you, I've got earplugs in. So they're telling me like where to go, what to do, where to put my hands, and I'm there like,
Okay. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Are you in the MRI machine at this point?
No, so I'm sort of sitting on the bed bit,
Okay.
and then you lie down, and then you get like pushed into the MRI machine with the machine. And then it's I don't know, it's weird.
Did you get a bit freaked out though? I remember when I had one, and then I started thinking about the fact that there was a giant magnet rotating around me.
No.
And it really freaked me out.
No.
Like a giant magnet.
I don't have neurotic.
Spinning at high speeds around my body.
I'm not as neurotic as you, so no.
Blew my mind.
No, but did you have that like little dentist mirror thing, but in big size above you, where you can
So you
see
can
inside?
see,
Yeah.
and you can see the people, you're supposed to be
Yeah.
able to see the people behind you, so you know that they haven't left you.
Yeah.
With this giant magnet spinning around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was fine. It's just very, very loud.
Okay.
And towards the last sort of 10 minutes, my nose started to itch. And I was just sitting there like proper scrunching my face up trying to itch my nose.
Ow.
But it was fine. And they said I was an A-star patient at the end because I was so still. I don't know, Demel's was pulling faces at me.
Because you're a nerd. I remember there was a video going around on Facebook of people having sex in an MRI.
Ooh.
Did you ever see that?
No.
It was really strange. It was like, so strange.
I've seen one of people kissing an MRI.
Oh, that would be weird too. It's probably quite similar to people having sex in an MRI,
It was
actually.
really gross.
Yeah, it was just like, there was like... Yeah.
There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, it looked like a... Yeah.
It's just really gross. And because you know how your tongue is really long and it goes down like the whole back of your neck?
Uh-huh.
So see those two things, like, it wasn't nice.
Kind of like worms.
Also, Alice and I had a little PSA we wanted to put out there.
A what?
If you're in an office, please don't eat tinned fish for lunch
Every day.
every single fucking day, because it really fucking stinks and it's starting to make me angry.
And she can't be held responsible for what she's going to do next.
I can't. But I can't do anything because he's a lot higher up than us. I think he's a professor. And
I don't know if he is a professor.
Well, whatever he is, he's old.
He wouldn't be a professor if he was in the office with all those plebs. He's in like a PhD office. He's definitely not a professor.
True. Anyway, that's all.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Shall we introduce our guests now? Now they
Yeah.
can speak.
Yes.
What about you?
It's about fucking time, bitches.
Hello. All right.
So we have Gina
Hello.
and Natalie.
Hi.
So both of these guys I've known since school. Gina I've known since the very beginning, so we've been friends since we were 12.
Yeah.
Gina was my second friend ever at secondary school.
Oh.
Yeah.
God,
And then
that's
Natalie came in sixth form.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
And now they're here.
I was actually really wondering that, but I didn't want to ask, so I was like, I have to wait to the podcast.
Well, how we know
I was like, how does everyone know each other?
I wanted them to come on because basically, so one of the things that inspired this podcast, right, was these girls have a podcast called Well Black Chili,
Yes.
and it's so fucking funny. Everyone should hear it.
Thank you.
And like, I genuinely burst out laughing on the train while I'm listening to it. There was something that you said, Natalie, one day when you were like, you were talking about someone who,
Oh God.
I think you said like everyone needs to have a white man's walk with a black man's confidence. Or something.
Holy
That's
shit, that's
what we
hilarious.
used. It was like the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
catchphrase. That's a trademark. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
true,
was funny.
true shit. Oh no, that's what I used to say. I wish every woman had the confidence of that.
Of a mediocre.
Of mediocre
Yeah,
white
we all
man,
have
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Go forth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen.
it's really good.
I feel like I should have listened before this. That should have been my homework.
No, please
Totally.
please
It's
don't.
alright, they didn't even listen to the podcast they're coming on. So.
That's fine.
No, we're all on the same page.
Curie's just a swat, but that's very normal.
Do you know, I really hate when people listen to our podcast and the most recent episode they've heard is the sex one because I didn't remember what I said during it.
Neither do I.
So talking to my cousin about it was very weird. It was very like, oh
yeah.
I really have a thing for butts, but I don't. But anyway,
I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
Aw.
same.
So what do you guys do?
Oh, I can speak about it now. Fantastic. So I am a journalist and writer.
Woo!
Yeah. I'm freelance, but prior to being freelance, I worked for BuzzFeed, and now I essentially work freelance, semi-full-time at BBC Newsbeat, and that's
Friends are
great.
so cool.
Yeah. Writer, podcaster,
Publish.
publisher.
You're the most famous guest we've ever had.
At the beginning, I was like, guys, I have this friend. She's verified on Twitter.
So we're gonna wait until we have a minuscule follower. we'll get her on and it might get slightly less minuscule. Was exactly how Curie put it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's me. That's...
Okay, published.
Yeah, published and all them too. Yeah, man, we'll get
Okay,
into
Know
that.
Your Place is the book. Gina has an essay in it. Read it, it's great. So I'm Natalie. I work as a social media manager, freelance basis. It's not for anything particularly famous or whatever.
You're our second most famous guest.
Oh no! And then on the side, I do photography, videos, casting, and podcasting with Well Black Chili, and then I produce Building Blocks, which is like in hiatus. But anyway, that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
These guys are so much cooler than us.
Yeah, they really are.
We're not saving lives, though.
Yeah.
Neither
Neither
are
are
we.
shit. Like, I like that. That should be a tagline. We're not saying neither are we.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that is quite a good tag.
Episode name, perhaps?
Yeah.
So the one thing we like to ask all our guests is, because we're obviously going to now soon start talking about some hardcore science. So what was your... Okay, maybe not that hardcore.
No, not hardcore at all.
No, we're not clever enough to do the hardcore.
Correction, not hardcore.
Yeah.
Continue.
What was your guys' relationship with science growing up, at school, now, whatever?
I fucking hated science at school. I thought science was shit. Like, no offense. I try and be respectful, you know.
That's fine. This isn't a very respectful show.
Yeah, but like, I actually fucking hated it. And it's like, Curie, you can attest, like, well, maybe you can't because you ended up doing going into science, but I just didn't think that our science teachers were that great.
No, they weren't.
And like, I think I semi-liked chemistry, but physics was terrible. We used to have this teacher, I feel like I can't mention his name.
You can mention it with Mr. Godsmart.
Yes, Mr. Godsmart. Where he at home?
Shame him.
Like,
Shame him.
Shame him. I hope he's alive and well, but if, shout out to you. But he just like, he was just like, his trousers would always be falling down and his hair was always really ruffled, and it was just like such it was like the perfect symbol of what my physics career, like, learning life was like. It was just a fucking mess. Like, I was like,
a person.
yeah, literally, it's just like, oh, this is how I feel in this class. I did not like science.
And then also, he was the teacher that everyone would fuck about so much in his class,
So
and
I
he
would
just
never
wouldn't even
learn
realise.
anything. So like, I did well in my exams, but as soon as I could stop doing every single science imaginable. I was like, I'm absolutely not. And so like even now when I have conversations with Curie and like she's doing incredible things, oh my god, science, yeah. And she's like saying stuff to me, she's saying words, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But I just pretend like I know because I have no idea.
No, but that's not true actually, because whenever you do ask me about what I'm doing, you do generally ask me a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm very interested and inquisitive.
Okay, great.
Because I do find it, so I think as well, like when you leave a school environment where you're not forced to learn things that feel largely like redundant, like I'm not going to ever really need to know it. When I talk to like someone like Curie who's doing stuff to do with like neuroscience in the brain and stuff like that, which I find interesting, even though I would never, I don't want to do, don't tell me, but like I don't want to be involved, but like it's so cool. Like she's like, oh, we're doing it, it's like chewing, and oh my god, like chewing, yeah, like, I can do that. So it's interesting to hear it now and like see how science impacts so much of like our world, you know? That's cool.
It's something we say quite a lot with most of our guests. We realise that science is something that you get into as you get older. Most of the time, not at school.
Yeah, if you manage to sustain your interest in science through school, like kudos to you, because many dropped by the wayside.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so with me, with science, I actually loved science in school. It's probably second to maths. So maths was my favourite subject, then it was science, and it was English. And so I did triple science at GCSE.
Can't relate.
Loved it. Chemistry was my favourite. Biology was a close second. It wasn't close, I mean, not lie. And physics was like a third. And I really liked it, did well in it, got good grades, and then went to our sixth form and just fucked it up. Like, crash and burn it. Like the definition of like crickets in the room and you put your hand up to answer a question, like no, she definitely doesn't get it. I think I got like a D or an E in my AS, and I went from an A star. Just a strong slide down.
That wasn't your fault.
No, trust me. Why is that such a good reflection of our school?
Because our school, the girls were just incredibly intelligent and really great independent learners. But anyway, so after that, my science dreams were dead. I was like, when I got to A2, I was like, bye, peace sign. And then, now with science, I don't interact with it as much as I would like to. I hear random things from my parents that get on my nerves so much. Mum just be like, green tea is really good for losing weight. I'm like, Mum, that's not how it works. Like, there's more to it. But yeah, I'm still interested in science. My friend actually is doing a PhD that's like kind of science related, I guess. It's looking at like treatment for, it's more psychology, I guess, based, but
still science.
Yeah, still science. So about how you can use music to treat anxiety and earworms and stuff. So so I like talking about science, but I know I'm not, like back in the day I was like, let's talk about wavelengths, let's talk about the ozone layer, guys. Like, what are we doing? Come on, recycling. Recycling. I literally, the extent of my science vocabulary goes to recycling. But now I'm just like, observe from afar, read some more books about the mind, and then
nice,
I guess.
But that's quite a sad story, because I feel like you were like a great scientific mind that was let fall to the wayside.
This is what I mean. That's what schools do.
Terrible.
It's probably for the best, to be honest. It's probably for the best. Let's
I mean, look at you now, second famous guest on a world famous podcast.
Accomplished.
So true.
I'm gonna be verified next. But
Cool.
Wait, I have a question for you guys though.
Go for it.
I want to know, like, what's like the 411? Like, what's the gas in science? Like, when you guys are like in your science.
Don't do that again.
She's making it sound like Gossip Girl. XOXO.
Yeah, XOXO science. Like,
new study.
But like,
who's gonna be the healthy control?
Curie again. She was A-star. When you guys are like in obviously your science one, is there like some sciences that are deemed like more important and stuff than others, or like what is the beef? Well, tell me. I want to know.
There is kind of like anything to do with cancer is normally quite high.
Oh, okay.
Like anything like genetics based with cancer and things like that.
Things go through phases. So at the moment, there's a big boost for Alzheimer's disease.
But that's like within that discipline. Like,
no, I feel like in general there's a big boost for aging and Alzheimer's disease. But cancer's always been the one overruling thing of everyone, which is fine. I mean, it's probably like cancer's the one thing that affects everyone, and there's so many different types.
Yeah.
But also,
and it's such an enigma.
It is.
It is. It's a big word.
Does it get annoying?
I wanted to use that word.
Does it get annoying?
Yeah, like
it doesn't.
For fuck's sake, man, cancer every day. Like
it doesn't get annoying, but sometimes I do wish that people would give money to other
right
things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like with the ice bucket challenge for ALS, I thought that was so great because this one now something else was getting attention and getting some money. Whereas cancer research does have so much money behind it, they don't really have this big need for a lot more at the moment.
Right.
But there are other areas of science that really do need money.
Yeah, because I think that kind of thing is super interesting, because when you don't know anything about science, you don't know anything about that realm at all, you immediately do think of, like, when you think of charities, you immediately think of, like, cancer. Oh, and, like, you don't even really sometimes think of a specific cancer. You just think, okay, cancer research. Do you know what I mean? Rather than going into, so, like, I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering, guys.
You're welcome. Should we get into some science then? You went first last time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go first. Okay, so my paper. This is where it all starts to fall apart.
It goes rapidly downhill from here.
No. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read you the title of my paper, and then we're going to quickly go into it. This is quite a long paper, so I'm going to whiz through the first part quite quickly, and then we'll get onto the nitty-gritty stuff.
Do you expect us to understand this?
No.
Okay.
So the look on Natalie's face is freaking me out.
Why? I'm excited because I'm like, ooh,
she's ready.
I'm ready to sound dumb. Like, I'm very ready. So.
We love that.
Fantastic.
We love an idiot.
Our favourite type of guest.
Right.
She was a fucking idiot. We loved her.
Right, okay, so my paper is called It's a periodic diet that mimics fasting, promotes multi-system regeneration, enhanced cognitive performance, and health span.
Okay, I feel like I've already got an advantage because I think we've spoken about this before.
Can I ask a question?
That specific thing.
Yeah, that's specific.
That's exactly that.
We spoke about that
You're like,
exact thing. As
I
soon as
have
you
heard
said
that.
periodic, I was like, yup, that's the shit. I know that already.
Can I ask a question yet?
Yes.
Is this like the 5-2 fasting thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, in its same. Let's let her speak.
Yeah. Sorry, I have opinions on that.
Okay, well, also, by the way, the 5-2 is my PhD, so let's see how this goes.
Oh, shit.
Plot twist.
Okay, so this is, as you both clearly know then, intermittent fasting is this huge thing right now. It's gained a lot of popularity recently. It's also gained a lot of popularity in the science world because it's incredibly good for you. So this is quite a new paper, and this paper is huge. So the first part of the paper is going to talk about yeast, and then it talks about mice, and then it goes into human work. Okay. So I'm going to whiz through the yeast and the mouse work, so then we can go into the human bit, which we can all relate to a lot more. So the general background of this paper is that we know that what you eat and your calorie level intake and sort of your dietary patterns are really important for aging and aging-related diseases. So one thing that we do know now through all the research that's gone on is that dietary restriction is good, and that means energy intake, so it would be calorie restriction. And fasting is the most extreme form of dietary restriction that we have as humans, and these can be divided into two things. So we have intermittent fasting, which is like the 5-2 diet, and then prolonged fasting, which is anything that's longer than 2 days. So what this paper looks at is looking at these prolonged fasting cycles. So they're having 2+ days of fasting and then separated by at least 1 week of a normal diet. And we're starting to realise that this is actually a really effective way to protect our cells and our organs from things like toxins and toxic conditions. It's been shown to reduce cancer cell types, it's been shown to decrease our glucose blood levels, decrease our insulin levels, and just in general be really good for you. But the only problem is, if we're trying to apply this for humans, things like prolonged water-only fasting is extremely difficult. You won't find many people that are willing to only drink water for 2+ days.
I like chewing. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I like chewing too.
Yeah, I'm not a rabbit, but spit.
Yeah, no, I like chewing too.
Yeah, because it's right. The thing is, like, that's the thing with those like juice fasts and shit. That the juice diets that people do. I miss eating.
Yeah.
I would literally find it easier to eat something and then spit it out, and diet that way.
Yeah.
Than do a juice.
Yeah.
I did one of those juice things when I was like 18 with my sister before we went to a wedding.
Did you feel awful?
The one thing I really missed was chewing. That's the one thing that came out of it.
Yeah.
Was I was like, I need to chew something. Anything at all. And I think it said that if you felt like you were going to faint, you could like have a raw carrot or something. So then on like my third day, I was
Fuck's sake.
I was like, I'm breaking, I'm cracking, I need the raw carrot. And I had the raw carrot.
Dude,
and I felt like I failed because I'm super competitive. So I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I would have had a
I'm
whole
gonna do
chicken
this
leg.
juice fast.
A whole chicken
A
leg.
whole
I
chicken
would've been
leg,
like,
a whole
whole
fucking
chicken.
chicken.
And I'm talking about the you know that I call it the shoulder, but it's not really the shoulder, it's the leg and the thigh. But to me, it looks like a shoulder.
Oh,
You know, like Nando's
the shank.
Nando's half chicken. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nando's
yeah,
half
yeah.
chicken.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would have walked into, I would have twirled that into that wedding and been like, I'm hungry, bitches.
But that's the thing then. So I read all these blogs and it was like, oh, after you do the juice cleanse, then you actually feel like eating healthier and like, you know, you don't just undo all the work you've done. It actually
Bullshit.
like persists and la. And like, I think I had like a mildly healthy breakfast. And then I just started snacking because I just remembered what chewing felt like.
Well, that's the thing, right? You've restricted yourself so much, and all of a sudden you have all the good shit in front of you, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna eat all this shit now. Because I've been eating juices for the past
Yeah.
week.
And also those juices are probably really bad for your teeth.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The sugar in there?
Exactly.
Crazy.
If anything, they're gonna make you skinny fat. Anyway,
All right.
so back to the paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, what these guys did is they developed a fasting mimicking diet. So what this means is they basically created a diet that will produce all the same effects in your body that fasting would, but you are still eating.
Fantastic. Tell me
Yeah.
more about that shit, because I'm
Right.
not fasting.
So we're first going to talk about what they did with the yeast. So they first wanted to see.
I love the way you're saying yeast, by the way. It's like,
Love it.
It's like an announcement. Everything's like yeast.
So basically, they first want to confirm that this prolonged fasting is doing something. So they were like, let's go to one of the simplest organisms we have, which is yeast.
Hey. You were pointing at me, so I was like, it's me? I'm the simplest I can't believe it. I knew I was special. Yes, it is me.
I know
the
that you
simplest organism in the book is like Gina Moore Barrett.
You took that as a compliment.
Is I was like,
Like you won the Oscar. You remember that play we did in Sixth Form where I was a potato? What were you?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Potato.
Yeah, I was a potato.
it was a harvest festival.
Yeah, you were something else as
I
well.
can't remember what I was.
I do not remember.
I was
Yeah, and,
Festival
oh,
fairy
the
or
pictures
something.
are terrible. Oh,
You were a potato.
so I wore a trench coat because obviously potato. It's like a similar colour. Oh my god, it was so bad. Oh, anyway, yeah.
Oh god, I
So
have no memory
yeast
of
and
this.
starch, but yeah, I've got the pictures on Facebook. It's terrible.
Okay, right. Anyway,
Sorry, get back to it.
so basically
Back
they
to the
wanted
yeast.
they wanted to see whether the benefits of periodic, what they call now periodic starvation, if these benefits can be achieved in a simple organism. Yeast, not Gina.
That should be a hashtag.
Can
I'm
we
sorry,
hire-
can I just say that the titles for this episode are flying in
Hashtag yeast, not Gina.
Also, can we hire you to be our social media manager? Because we suck.
Hey,
I've seen our
I've
timeline.
I've recently overtaken the Instagram and I think I'm doing a fantastic
Why are you
job.
laughing? But
It took her 3
I'm not
weeks
doing
from
it, I'm
overtaking the Instagram to upload anything.
oh wow, wow. Okay, we've got work to do. For
Do
sure.
you know what it is?
Just send me some tips and I'll be fine.
It's because me and Demelza are like all over the Twitter and Alice wasn't doing anything. And she was like, guys, I'll take over the Instagram. And she's done fuck all. She uploaded one picture 2 weeks late.
I look. You know what? I'm gonna upload the second one now.
No, we're meant to be focusing on the podcast.
What's your paper?
Okay,
Continue.
continue.
Anyway, so how they achieved this in the yeast is that, so the yeast is cells. So they would leave it in nutrient-rich medium for 48 hours, and they'd move it into water for 48 hours. They alternated this 4 times until the yeast died.
Oh.
Yeast is bacteria.
Okay.
No?
No, yeast is yeast.
Yeast is yeast.
Oh,
It's a living.
I would have believed that
It's
shit.
a
like,
listen.
okay.
It's a living organism. We all are one. You know.
Yeah, but this is supposed to
We
prolong
have-
lives.
Apparently,
but
I
she was
didn't know
like,
what
it
yeast
just-
was until just now. I thought yeast was a form of bacteria. Okay. Yeast is a yeast. It's just it's a unicellular organism, right? Okay. It's a unicellular organism, which means it's just one cell.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
So you know it's like a periodic and it was like 5-2. How comes the yeast was only in the nutrient-rich medium for 48 hours? Shouldn't have been there for longer, no? Look at me.
In it?
Probably dumb question there.
Didn't
Because
understand.
That's
it said periodic, not like I think it went on further to be 5-2, isn't it?
That's
So
a
it's-
very good question.
Thank you.
I don't know. That's just the protocol.
Okay.
Lovely
I
knowledge.
assume it's the best way to ensure that they survive that time.
Yeah, because you don't want to do like what?
You don't want to kill them on
72
the
hours.
first
Yeah,
round.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's up, Gina? You look very confused.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, okay? I was still laughing at yeast being... yeast not being me. As soon as it stopped being me, I was like, well, I don't care.
So anyway, so then what they saw was that this fasting that they did, these yeast did live a lot longer than they would have done normally. Also, when they treated them with hydrogen peroxide, which is toxic to them, the number of cells that survived were 100-fold more than the ones that didn't go through this periodic fasting. So basically, the main thing of that is actually, this periodic fasting can protect these simple organisms from both toxins and aging. And yeah, that's great. So what they did now is they moved on to the mice. So now they did create this fasting mimicking diet for them, and this diet was low in calories and low protein. And like I said before, it causes changes in the markers that are associated with the same thing as they have when they're fasting.
It's,
Ding, ding, ding.
relative.
Okay.
Or relatable.
Okay.
Relatable.
Ding ding ding. Silent demands a fact. The yeast that we were talking about is the same one that they use in bread making and beer. Actually, if you Google the species of yeast that we use, it comes up as brewer's yeast.
Ah, okay. I didn't know there were more than one type of yeast. I just thought yeast was yeast.
So did I, to be honest.
Oh, okay,
I mean, I
fair.
thought yeast was bacteria, so.
Me too. Can't you Anyway, I was gonna say
What?
something
Can't
really
you
gross.
Can't you grow
when you
yeast?
get
You
in
get thrush or
your
something?
veg.
That's
type of
still
yeast
What
yeast.
type is that?
It's
Yeah,
the
like
same-
It's not brewer's yeast.
It's the same. It's not the same yeast.
You stop saying yeast.
It's vaginal yeast.
Ah,
Why is
okay.
it different from?
It's just a
That's why I
different.
was thought it was bacteria, because when it's in
It's
your
got
vag.
the same genus, so it's like the same family, but it's just a different.
It's like a
Okay.
cousin
Yeah.
of brewer's yeast.
Yeah.
It's like brown bread and white bread. Not really,
No.
but no. All right, they're cousins. They're related for sure.
Yeah, is that not the? It's not.
It's like
I
I
mean,
don't understand. Okay.
yeah,
How is that not white bread and brown bread?
because
I'm still talking about yeast.
white bread is brown bread.
Huh?
White bread is just brown bread but bleached, right?
Oh, good God.
All right,
Alright, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it
Curie,
back.
Curie, Curie.
Let's bring it back.
Bleached.
Yeah,
Who would
let's
eat
bring it
something
back,
that was
let's bring it
bleached?
No, but it's had all the shit taken out of it,
Yeah.
right? And that's why it's
Yeah,
white.
yeah.
There we
Not
go.
bleached.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I don't mean they literally drown it in bleach.
Let's go to the mice.
Okay, to the
Okay,
mice.
Right.
We're
Okay.
sick of yeast. Move on.
I'm getting really sweaty and hot. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you a few of the effects that we do get from fasting.
Okay.
One that you might have heard about is we get an increase in ketone bodies. So do you guys remember there was that big trend of raspberry ketones? That like there was a fat burning supplement. So this is, which by the way, disclaimer, it's absolute fucking bullshit. Please don't have raspberry ketones.
my dad ordered them.
They
Rare
tend
of
to-
them from China. Goes
Oh,
mad.
that's definitely no.
Yeah.
So this the raspberry ketones are based off a phenomenon people think that is called ketogenesis. So that's because we have these ketone bodies that go up, and these are produced by the liver during periods of low intake. So when you're fasting or you're having loads of exercise and you're using up a lot of energy, that's when your ketone bodies are produced by your liver. And what these guys do is they will produce energy from your fat rather than your glucose. So normally your energy comes from your blood sugar, but ketone bodies will ensure that your energy is coming from your fat because you don't have enough blood sugar to keep going. So when you get fasting, these ketone bodies go up. So that's now the basis that these products like raspberry ketones came from, but actually they don't work because you're still eating, which means you've still got blood glucose.
Right.
Yeah. So please don't take raspberry ketones. So these ketone bodies have actually been shown to be really good for well, they're now starting to show that it's quite good for you. So have you guys heard of the ketogenic diet?
I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah, so the ketogenic diet is high fat, low carb, high protein, I
I
think.
think so.
Yeah, but the main basis is high fat. So now there's this huge trend. So I think it came big about a year ago when people were saying to people, "Oh, put butter in your coffee because that is in a ketogenic diet."
Coconut oil.
Exactly. So they were just having people eat these huge amounts of fat, and actually, again, if you're not managing it properly, it's not that good for you. But if you do it properly, it's been shown to actually be really effective in treating certain types of epilepsy. So it brings on long-term reduction in your seizure frequency and severity in a lot of people. And it's also now starting to think that it might be good for things like ALS, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. So we think these ketone bodies might have some sort of neuroprotective effect.
But no evidence for if you're in the full of your health.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the things. The other sort of things are it reduces your blood sugars, and it also reduces this thing called IGF-1, insulin growth factor 1, and this has been shown to when it goes down, it's been shown to extend your health span and your lifespan in animals. So these are just a couple of examples of things that happen to you when you fast, and this is what that diet is designed to do as well. So what they did was that they'd have 16-month-old mice, and they would feed them this diet 4 days, twice a month, and they would just do lots of tests on them and compare what's going on. Overall, the calorie intake for the control group, so the group that were kept on their normal diet and the group that were on the FMD, their calorie intake was the same. And so your overall energy intake is the same. So nothing should be happening in like your sort of energy balance.
What's FMD?
The fasting mimicking diet.
Okay.
Yeah. I should also mention that FMD is quite a big nutrition term for, what's it stand for?
Medial dilation.
Yeah, something to do with heart. I'm not talking about the cardiovascular thing, I'm talking about the diet for any nutritionists that are listening. So this is the fasting mimicking diet, which I will now refer to as FMD. So, first of all, they looked at fat loss. And despite there being the same calorie intake, they saw that the FMD mice had a trend, so it wasn't significant, but they had a trend for reduced fat loss, but their lean body mass remained the same. So even though, so basically, yeah, we can have all these effects on fat loss, which is good. They also saw that these mouses' glucose and IGF-1 were reduced, which, as we've said, is good. But then when they were fed again, these effects reversed. The second finding they found was that these mice had reduced organ size. So their kidneys, heart, and liver went down in weight, but once they refeeded them, they went back up to their normal size. But then what they also found was when they went back up to their normal size, this was after they were being refed for a week, these mice also had a 10-fold increase in this certain protein that is to do with your stem cells proliferating.
What's
Proliferating means like doubling.
Oh.
So basically what that means is that this fasting mimicking diet, if you go on cycles, there's something to do with regeneration going on because you're producing way more stem cells upon the refeed. What else they saw was that in the FMD mice, they had a higher density in their thigh bone. So again, with the regeneration, they think that this dieting is either stopping age-related bone density loss or inducing bone regeneration. So then next thing, cancer and inflammation. I'm just running through this really fast so we can get onto the actual human bit. So running through this really fast, cancer and inflammation. The mice that they use are really prone to tumours, especially blood-based cancers. And especially as they age, they find a lot more extra growth of tissue that shouldn't be there. The mice that were on the diet had a 40% decrease in these growths and tissues, and by the end of their life, in the control mice, about 67% of them died of cancer, and in the FMD mice, only 40% of them died of cancer. So they think, okay, great, this FMD diet has all these benefits. It's it's promoting regeneration of our cells and our organs potentially, of our bones. It's reducing cancer. It's helping you lose fat loss. And then finally, two things. They looked at motor coordination, memory, and this thing called neurogenesis, which is the production of new brain cells. This is the thing that I've been telling you about that I do. So as you age, your coordination goes a bit off, and this is the same in mice. And your cognitive function declines, so your ability to remember stuff decreases. So what they found was that with the mice that were on the diet, both of these things were much more improved compared to the control mice. And finally, the lifespan. The mice that were on the FMD had an 11% extension of their lifespan compared to the control mice.
Right.
Are you two still awake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's get to the humans.
Okay, great. So I
have a lot of questions, but yeah.
Go for it.
Well, with the 5-2 diet, I thought it was like, this is like transformative, whatever, BS. But it's like, no, there's like legit like benefits to it.
Yeah, most of the time diets are like, as you said, BS. But this one is one that when checked out scientifically is actually coming up as being
Yeah.
quite scientifically sound.
Yeah.
One of the reasons they think is because it kind of mimics, without going into the paleo type of crap, which is
don't get me
also kind of
started
close
on
to keto, but it's supposed to mimic, like, so when we were evolving and we were hunter gatherers, we would have gone through periods of fasting between when we were like taking a break from all the hunting and gathering, and maybe when we ran out of a little bit of food, and that was like when we were in like the peak of our health. So like we were like really stimulated in terms of like brain and development and
so
all sorts of things.
evolutionarily we are,
It's mimicking that. It's mimicking like when we were hunter gatherers and we used to fast for a while, and then we'd have times where there's lots of food.
yeah, so evolutionarily you could say that humans are primed to be fasting and refeeding, and at the moment in modern society there's an excess of food everywhere all the time, and also our food's a lot more processed and all that kind of shit. So that is potentially one of the reasons why fasting is so good for human health.
Because that's our default setting.
Yeah.
I don't want to come for veganism, but that's one thing with vegans that I think they have to be very aware of, is that so much of their food is processed. And like, if you're a vegan, you really need to consider about your like raw intake. Yes, as a flexitarian, I need to consider mine as well, but you know, flexitarian. It's my new identity.
I like that. I'm all on board with the flexitarianism.
I mean, I pretty much eat meat every
Yeah.
day, so I can't really say that. But, you know,
It's
I like.
my new
That's
identity.
what I'm trying to move towards. Listen, in uni,
Flexitarianism.
yeah, you know, in uni, I used to do meat-free Monday. I was vegan for like a week.
That doesn't count!
God. Oh my God.
Actually, I was really a pescatarian, but
That sounded like some guy of Mean Girls. I was vegan for like a week.
well, it was true life.
Butter carb?
It's like, honestly. Anyway,
No. Cool.
yeah, I just think we need to eat a lot less meat.
No, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
there's a huge excess of meat.
Yeah, but it's not
Let's
sustainable.
get to the human part, then I'll say what my comments
Listen,
are.
Okay.
we all matter. We're all brothers and sisters in this, you know. Fellow my Stuart Little and the man them. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so now they've gone this is a pilot human trial. So any results that we get from this, yes, they're good, but we need to take them with a pinch of salt because it's a pilot trial. You sound disappointed.
You're like, you did your research, did you?
So this FMD that they designed, it's plant-based, and some of the things that they have are vegetable-based soups, energy bars, energy drinks, chips, snacks, chamomile flower tea, vegetable supplement formulas.
Any coffee?
Why are you screwing your face up?
I don't get it. Yeah, go on, Demazi. You go, babes.
Volta what?
That's the guy who does the PI is Volta Longo. He's huge in like the fasting field. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, of course he's going to capitalise
That's
off
his
it.
joke.
When you say chips, yeah?
He's huge in the fasting field. Like, okay.
That's a big love quote. When you say chips, do you mean chips as in like potatoes, or you mean chips
Like
what?
crisps.
No, they're
Yeah,
going to mean
crisps,
like crisps.
Okay.
So like by chip snacks, I assume they mean, you know how we get like sweet potato
Yeah.
crisps or like beetroot crisps or something.
I don't understand the whole energy bars thing. Aren't a load of those a crock of shit? So how can that be in like what you're giving to
Yeah,
people?
but they've designed these themselves.
Okay.
So so they formulated these all themselves.
Oh, okay.
So this is part scientific paper, part advertisement.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's like that cranberry study that every woman thinks is cranberry juice is really good for your urinary tract, but it's a crock of bull because it's like a very small difference.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah. The ocean
be fair, I just drink water.
water spray sponsored that study, and I don't know why, but people have adopted it as. I saw this woman on the train the other day drinking so much cranberry juice. I was like, girl, stop. Like, it's too
Water
much.
that help, like, I just drink
Yeah.
fuck ton
But
of water.
like everybody, you know how everyone's like, oh, if you got
Yeah,
anything
no, I
going on,
do,
like,
I do, I
it's
do.
nothing to do with
Do you
that.
know what that's like?
interesting.
You know how everyone thinks spinach is really high in iron, and then the Popeye came out with the boom with his biceps? That's actually bullshit. That whole belief came across from a PhD student who put the decimal point in the wrong place. So
Hey! Who said it was a PhD student?
fine, some sort of scientist.
No, it was literally okay. I feel like I told you this.
I don't
no?
think you told me this.
Okay, because it's in nutrition. There's these nutritional tables they were made by these people called McCants and Widdowson. So like two people, something McCants and something Widdowson. Elsie Widdowson. Can't remember who McCants was.
Not important.
But Elsie was a woman, so go her.
Okay.
But they published these nutritional tables of all the like so many foods that were around at the time. And had the breakdown of the nutritional content of them all, so measured it and like in terms of macronutrients and also micronutrients. And when they were doing that, there was a typo in the book for spinach and for iron, and
So
they put the
now-
decimal point in the wrong place, so everybody thinks it has 10 times the amount of iron that it actually has.
Yeah, but it's actually it's normal. The same as everything else. Spinach is nothing special.
It has iron, but like not
Crazy amounts.
enough to make Popeye's muscles pop out whenever you
I've
want.
definitely told my anemic friend to eat more spinach.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
But it is still
Yeah.
a source of iron because dark green vegetables are high in iron, but it's not as high in iron as everyone likes to.
Right. Okay. Anyway, back to this FMD diet in the humans.
Yeah.
So what this is a 5-day regimen. On day 1, it feeds you about 1,090 calories. Do you want the full macronutrient breakdown? Because I have that for you if you'd like. Okay.
I just want to see percentages.
Okay, it's 10% protein, 56% fat, and 34% carbs.
Oh, I didn't know what macronutrients was, so I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then,
so much fat.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the ketogenic diet. It's very similar.
56, you said?
56% fat.
Wow.
And
What's
then,
the 10%?
Protein.
Protein. Yeah, it's a lot of. It's like
So just a fuck
you
ton
would
of
think it would be
avocados.
more
yeah, but if you
protein
remember,
than carbs.
but if you remember that these guys, they're trying to mimic what happens with fasting, right? And one of the things that happens with fasting is an uptake of ketone bodies. And the ketogenic diet, which produces an uptake ketone bodies, is high fat, low protein.
Okay, yes, continue.
And then day 2 to 5 gives you 725 calories. So you're now having this for 4 days. And it's 9% protein, 44% fat, and 47% carbs. So it's ever so slightly different. And then for the rest of the time, you eat what you want for the rest of the month. And then what they did was they put these people on 3 cycles of FMD, so three months regime.
And then, sorry, it was within 3 months and it was 5 days out of the month.
No, 5 days per month. So it's 3 cycles. So it's a 1
Is that
month.
what I just said? I
No.
feel like it is. It is, isn't
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that.
How you gonna have Curie explain me? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
with
that.
you. I'm with you.
That's going in the blurb as well. Curie explains.
So they had 2 groups. They had the FMD group and the control group. And then afterwards, they were told to resume their normal diet and don't change anything about what they were having before, and don't change your exercise habits either.
Okay.
Which I think would have been really difficult because I've done the 5-2 briefly, and my habits have changed a lot after just 1 month of 5-2. So without
Really?
even realizing, yeah. Like
In terms of what?
I snack a lot less because I realise I don't need it.
Oh.
And just in general, my food intake's just I eat a bit slower.
That's good.
The biggest thing is snacking because I realise I don't actually need to.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, so this is a teeny tiny study. 19 people completed it, and there were 19 people in the control group. 5% of the participants were non-compliant, and 5% is pretty big for non-compliant. Although I suppose if you've got a small sample size, and
It's not
basically one person didn't complete it actually. Ignore me. Yeah. And 14% of the people withdrew for non-diet related reasons. So it would have been they were too busy or they couldn't make the time, which I would still say is kind of diet related because it's the actual regime of the schedule of what you're on.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so just a few good results from this. So the FMD people, they found that their fasting blood glucose went down 11.3%, which is pretty big. And after they resumed their normal diet, it remained low. It remained 5.9% lower than they were at the beginning before they started. Yes.
That didn't happen for the mice, though, did it?
No. For the mice, it went back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But for the humans, it remained a bit lower than it was before. Their ketone bodies went up 3.7-fold while they were on the diet, but then it returned back to normal levels after they started eating again, which makes sense because those ketone bodies are only there for you when you need to get energy from a different source. Their IGF levels went down, which if you remember, a reduction in IGF levels was associated with a longer health span and lifespan. It went down 24% on the diet, and then it remained 15% lower when they went back to their normal diet. So basically those 3 things, what we realise is actually this FMD diet seems to have long-term effects on markers in your blood that are related with sort of aging and aging-related diseases. Then weight, fat, body mass. They had a 3% reduction in body mass, but their lean mass increased. So what this means is that all the weight they lost was from fat, not from anything else.
That happened to me when I did 5-2.
Did it?
Yeah, because I used to stand on the Tanita, the body composition analyzer that we have.
Yeah.
The day before and the day after 5-2.
Yeah.
And it was always my fat that went down. The rest of my fat free mass always stayed the same, which is your muscle and bone.
Yeah. And then they looked at cardiovascular disease risk factors. So they looked at a certain thing called CRP. And CRP is called C-reactive protein, and basically it's a protein in your blood that goes up in response to stress. So it's your fight or flight response protein, kind of. So it gets you ready for
Death.
yeah. In my book, I have impending danger, but yes, death.
It's also increased when you're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
any
sickness
kind
as
of
well.
like any kind of stress on your body, not just
Yeah.
mental stress, like physical stress. as
Yeah.
well.
So it's basically that just means it's a marker of inflammation. So inflammation is your body's response to any sort of outside stress. And high levels of this CRP have been associated with heart disease and stroke. So 8 out of the 19 people on the FMD, they had raised CRP levels at their baseline before they started the diet. And then when they finished the diet, 7 out of the 8 people returned back to normal. They returned to what was a healthy CRP level after the diet. Obviously, those that had normal CRP beforehand, nothing changed. So this seems to be a diet that's effective for people that are already at high risk of something, rather than someone who is already healthy. So then they sort of looked at regeneration. So, before we were talking about with the mice that had these increase in stem cells, they basically saw the same thing in the humans. So we have these groups of stem cells, they're called mesenchymal stem cells. And these are what we find in, say, our blood, in umbilical cords, in your fat tissues and your amniotic fluid, for example. Those are just a few of the places you find it. And this is probably one of the most highest numbers of highest number type of stem cell that we have as adults. And these guys had a trend to increase. So they weren't statistically significant, but they did see increases in these stem cells compared to the control group. And that's it.
Okay.
So basically, I'll give you a quick summary and then we can discuss.
Okay.
So these FMD cycles, they can induce long-lasting benefits and rejuvenating effects on your body. But obviously they need a much larger trial. They've only done this on 19 people now. But it could be effective in promoting a human health span. Not necessarily lifespan, but health span. But from what they're saying right now is they put this little disclaimer at the end saying this is quite an intense regime, and so it should only be done under medical supervision.
Wow, for only 1 week a month. And when you say health span, how is that defined?
So if you say, let's say on average, people start to get aging-related diseases around 60 to 70 years old. They're saying maybe we can push that back longer. So you're living living not necessarily a longer life, but a healthier life.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. You don't want to be living a long life and be like sick as a dog for the last 20 years.
Exactly.
I'd rather pass away at maybe 75.
That's quite young.
Yeah, but be
That's old.
My dad's 70.
Yeah, my dad's 3 years from now.
Oh.
yeah, but 75, but then be on top form until my 75th year.
So you just
Yeah,
drop
that's
dead at
still be out partying.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Compared to being when you see those 101 year birthdays, you're
And they don't even know what's
that
going
one candle
on.
might take them out. That might be the
No,
end.
but do you know what? Being 101 and having dementia is better than being 101 and being mentally sound, right? Because my granny, she's 100. Wait.
Nah,
No, listen. My gran's 103. And she is absolutely mentally sound. She's so with it. She remembers all her grandkids' birthdays and everything, but she can't move. So she's trapped in her body in this nursing home. She can't walk. She can't go anywhere, and she's surrounded by people with dementia, and she's completely aware of everything that's going on.
But that's what I'm saying. I'd rather not live till I'm 101.
Well, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you were saying the same thing.
No, you were saying
Curie's
you'd rather
face.
have dementia.
Curie's face should be a but what I think Curie was saying was that the specifics of what it means to be healthy, because you could be mentally sound,
Yeah.
but then be kind of paralyzed by your body. Whereas if you were physically sound but not mentally, then it can be a different sort of
It's almost better
benefit. Yeah.
if once you get to a certain age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess you're not processing it really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're mentally sound, you are.
Yeah.
So thoughts?
I was skeptical of that 5-2 diet, but I might have to consider it. I think as my mice will be my parents, so I'll test them on it first. I don't think they'll be able to hack it in terms of willpower.
So you're gonna make your parents do 5-2?
Yeah, man. That's my control group.
Is the 5-2?
No, they're your pilot.
Yeah,
You-
there you go.
You don't eat for 2 days.
You eat, but it's only 500 to 600 calories.
Yeah, it's restricted.
And actually,
Well, you eat every day, but only.
no. So 2 days of the week, you have 500 calories or
Okay.
600. And actually, Michael
It's
Mosley.
actually between 5 and 8. If you're like a big man, they say.
Didn't they say for the
And
humans?
Listen, I was about to say that.
In the 5 days.
Keep interrupting me tonight.
In the 5 days, you have you
You eat normally. But actually, as I was gonna say,
Okay.
Michael Mosley, who like pioneered the 5-2 diet, has come out and said that actually up to 800 calories is fine because it still puts your body in starvation.
Okay. It just doesn't sound
Which,
fun
you
to
know-
me.
No,
That's what it is.
and this is the thing.
And I
like,
love food.
I'm very skeptical about these kind of things
Yeah.
because I feel like it's all well and good talking about it in like a science, in like the realm of like science and like hard facts and figures and like we tested these animals and shmashma and all this other stuff and like control whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like when you then put it out into the public, I feel like you lose a lot of that like control. That like, for example, put that up against like diet culture. I don't feel like it's as healthy as it like purports itself to be. Like, okay,
Yeah.
an example before you interrupt me, nutritionist, is like intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I watched this YouTube video. I don't know what happened. You know when you go in like a rabbit hole and you're
Yeah.
already feeling a bit like, oh, I'm feeling very. What's the word? You're
Impressionable?
Really, yeah, I'm feeling really impressionable tonight. So I watched this video and this girl was like, oh my God, intermittent fasting, I love it. Like, it's so great, guys. And so I watched like a bunch of other videos. I was like, oh my God, intermittent fasting. So then I think I told you about this, Nats. So the next like day, I was like, I'm gonna do intermittent fasting. And I did it for like 3 days. And I just had this overwhelming feeling that I was starving myself.
What did you do?
I ate for, is it 8 hours?
Yeah, so that's time restricted feeding.
Yeah, so I ate, but because I wasn't doing it for like actual health benefits, I was doing it just to like, this is what I mean about it going into like diet culture. I was doing it to like, because I was like, oh my God, like skinny, so that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It meant that like, it was already a flawed test because I was
You're
literally
doing it for the
just,
wrong reason.
I was doing it for the wrong, and I was just starving myself, so I wasn't doing it healthily. So that's why I'm a bit.
That is kind of one of my biggest gripes as well. So,
Shout out to you, Curie.
So, for example, when I'm recruiting participants, all of them will be like, yeah, I want to be on the 5-2, I want to lose weight.
Exactly.
And it really annoys me because I kind of have to be to them, well, actually, this 5-2 is more than just weight, it's about this and this and this. And I think that at the moment, with the way society is and what we find important, it's always going to come down to weight loss.
Yeah,
so whenever
exactly.
you see anything promoting intermittent fasting, it's going to be about weight loss.
Yes.
But actually, it shouldn't be about weight loss. It should be about
The other health benefits.
And it's like how, and this is, I'm glad you said that because this is why I'm always like, when I hear this kind of thing, because I'm like, how do you override something that is so prominent? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you even as somebody who's worked so hard to like have a good relationship with food, have a good relationship with exercise and stuff, I'm already like, it's triggering something in me that's like losing weight. Like, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
so
it's a
that's
culture thing.
Yeah. So I do find it interesting, like when you put it how it works. But you know.
The thing is, and also actually, this reminds me of a conversation I was having with my friend Lucy today. I've subscribed to this guy's emails. He's called Physiconomics on Instagram, and I told you about him.
Yeah.
His posts are really good, so he sends you emails every now and again, and his sort of big thing is fat loss. But he comes from it from quite a scientific perspective, and he's very no bullshit, no fads, blah, 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 this is what you need to do.
Right.
Like, his emails would be like, you're waiting for motivation? No, fuck that, you need to be the motivation, and all that kind of shit. I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then one thing that he said in his email, I think I got it yesterday, which I thought was so true, is he said that one huge problem with society and everyone's mindset is that we've categorized food as good and bad.
Totally.
So this now demonizes this whole group of foods that we see as the devil is the enemy, and whenever we eat it, we then feel bad about ourselves because we've eaten this bad food.
And we all perpetuate it.
So then what he said is we should actually be calling it optimal and non-optimal food. So we're like, this good food, the healthy stuff, is optimal for me. This is not optimal, but it's not bad.
Right.
So for my goals, this isn't optimal for what I need to do, but it's okay for me to eat it because it's not something that's evil and it's not bad.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is so true.
Yeah.
That's like what happened with like clean eating.
Oh,
Like that was like
fucking clean eating.
by saying something is clean, you're implying everything else is dirty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He said that as well.
Yeah, and I have friends that I've done that. You know, there are so many of these things. Like as you said, we go through like these like we kind of all go through these, I guess, trials, so to speak, like year after year, where it's like, okay, this is good for you, this is good for you, and we're getting peddled this stuff that like we don't even realize has just been sponsored by people that just want you to like be like, it's lucrative for you to want to lose weight.
The thing is, also, I also need to come from the aspect of my PhD, which I'm doing fasting. We're collaborating with Mars.
Yeah, that is so random to me.
So, because Mars...
That's research.
Yeah.
The money has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, just because Mars is chocolate bar.
But they also own Wrigley. And a part
chewing.
Yeah, and part of my PhD is also about the benefits of chewing. So I have had participants that have come from my clinical trial and then they've said, you're sponsored by Mars, I don't want to do it. So I've had a couple of people that have said that.
That's very interesting.
And I think just because most of the time you're right, there's a big thing between companies will only sponsor something to get something out for them.
Yeah.
But also there is still good sound research going on.
Yeah,
And I have no doubt about that.
Researchers, like, we have like scientific obligation to report what we find. Like, it's not like...
I have zero doubt about that.
It's just about, I guess, just about the brand and like what their ethical like reasoning.
Because but even if your ethical reasoning and like other stuff is shit, like you could still be sponsoring really good research.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still mad about cleaning. I'm just mad about that country in general. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just who I am.
I agree.
It is quite infuriating.
Like,
it's so infuriating.
I agree because, and actually, it's only I think over the past few months that I've started to have a much more healthy mentality about. Because Gina knows my struggle.
Yes, I fucking do, Curie. So I'm so happy that you said this.
With food and diet, and like I used to be obsessed with being skinny, like high end model skinny, But actually, over the past month, I've had this, like, my mentality's getting better. And actually, I think one of the things that triggered it was me trying the 5'2".
Really?
Yeah.
Now, that's
Yeah,
very interesting.
really. Genuinely.
I can't lie that. I feel like if I did the 5'2", part of my incentive going into it would be like, oh, you know, like weight loss and muscle and everything. But I think I am also very interested in our relationship towards food.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would maybe have that as something that I could see change. But if it wasn't the predominant change, I wouldn't be upset.
And also with 5'2", what they say is like you can group people into different eating behaviors, and that's like this whole kind of moving towards the area of like personalized nutrition and the fact that there's not a one size fits all approach, and like not one thing is not going to work for everyone. So 5'2" is 100% not going to work for everyone.
Right.
So you guys could say, oh yeah, it sounds cool, and you could try it and you could hate it.
Yeah.
And like that's not a failure. It's just that it doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And like there's efforts to make like these questionnaires that are going to identify your eating behavior so that you can kind of be advised in a more personalized way on what you should try.
And actually, if you wanted to try influence fasting, there's loads of different ways that are being looked into. There's the 5'2", which is the big commercial one, and that's one that everyone knows. There's the time restricted feeding, which you tried. That's becoming
quite big now.
That's becoming quite big.
Yeah, it's very popular on YouTube.
Because it's really easy for people to do it.
Yeah.
The other one is alternate day fasting, which is really intense, but a lot of people do that. Well, not a lot of people, but that's starting to become a big thing as well. The other one is stuff like this, where you have fasting periods, so prolonged fasting.
Right.
So there's loads of different ways for people to do it, and like the newsletter that I got from this guy, which I thought he made quite a good point as well, is even if you don't make it a part of your routine, even if you just try for a day, that can be enough to change your outlook on food and your relationship with it.
I've never fasted before.
You should try it. It's actually
I'm scared, man.
You just need to be super organized.
I just
because thing is, literally fasting could literally be skipping breakfast one day or skipping dinner one day.
I love breakfast.
Me too. So
Sorry.
okay, so maybe you can skip dinner one day, and that could be a fast.
Yeah.
That's still a fast.
True.
Yeah, but you can't think of it as skipping dinner.
Yeah, that is my
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Like,
Like,
I can't understand, and it's probably me, and maybe I'm just too susceptible to unhealthy ways of thinking. So whereby this would not work for me.
Totally, and that's like
you know?
another. You know the way that's after coming out as another eating disorder is this obsession with only eating good foods and everything else is bad. Like they call it orthorexia, and it's a really big problem.
Right.
Because it's like so a lot of people who are susceptible to eating disorders, sometimes they'll just exchange one for the other. So they may start out as being anorexic and recovered from that, but then fallen into this whole obsession with only eating foods that are like clean and pure and la, la, la.
Do you know?
And it's just as harmful. It's
Just as
psychological.
harmful, yes, and then but you can hide it in plain sight.
It's
Oh my
mental.
god, sorry. I
Can we
took
put the
that
blame on Instagram fitness models?
We can put a blame on all them shits. Yes.
We can what?
Terrible Instagram bundles.
Do what to them?
Blame
Just put the
them.
blame on them.
Oh yeah.
Can I talk about my eggs now?
Oh yeah. Oh my
yeah,
god.
Because
Sorry.
we have like 12 minutes. Will I even bother talking
That
about
was
my
a
eggs?
really interesting paper.
Yeah, talk about
good.
eggs.
And I'm really happy that you. I thought you were going to disagree with me, but you actually.
No, I do. I 100%
yeah.
agree with you.
It's a multifaceted argument.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
All them facets.
Yeah.
Okay, Alice.
Okay,
talk about your eggs.
Let's
Alright.
power through the eggs because I'm really proud of this because normally I come to the podcast and I'm still reading my paper and I was like, I'm quite busy at the moment and mildly stressed. So much so that Curie told me I didn't have to do a paper this week.
Oh wow.
She's cute like that. She's looking after me. But and then I was like, no, I'll do one, and I
am
managed to
cute.
actually
I missed
finish
that.
it.
I missed that. I am cute.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
past it. You're
Curie's
past it.
you.
This is how we're still friends.
I 100% agree with you, and I'm very happy that you do. That's literally what you guys said like 5 minutes ago.
What?
You're like, Curie, I thought you weren't gonna agree with me. She was like, you like, what? You're like, yeah, I do. And you're like, yeah, I'm happy. Sorry.
We can stay friends now.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Maybe
Greg,
they've
darling.
picked this up off each other.
Probably.
Maybe they've had that effect.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a learned culture.
Maybe, yeah.
Can I ask a quick question about the eggs?
Yeah, go.
You mean eggs?
We haven't started.
Yeah, but
No, I'm happy you
is-
have a question.
Is eggs like eggs you eat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
question.
Maybe it was
No,
eggs.
to be fair, when you told me you were doing a paper about eggs, I did think you were talking about like ovum.
No. Eggs, chicken eggs. They
All
eat.
right, yeah, let's get
Scrambled,
into it.
poached, boiled, fried.
Only chicken though. That's
Yes,
fine.
Yes, this is
Okay.
specifically on chicken eggs.
Okay, cool.
I guess because they're the most widely eaten.
Yeah.
But this links into something you were saying a bit earlier on about how foods were demonized, and basically, how I found this paper.
Gonna be.
Yeah, how I found this paper was because I read this article. It was just like on one of these science kind of news sites, which they write like articles that are a bit easier to read than the ones that we're showing to you today, that summarize like the findings in science that week and things like that. So I was reading one of those and it was saying how I thought it was really interesting how like the first like sentence of the article was that the list of foods to which emerging evidence has forced us to retract warnings is growing. So this means like all the foods that we had in the past that there was big health warnings out against, being like, not big ones, but it was just a widely known thing that they were bad for you. So things like chocolate, cheese, beer,
Wine.
coffee, wine, butter to an extent, which hasn't really had its moment yet, but I'm just a big fan of butter because I love dairy.
Butter will never have its moment.
But butter's not as bad as they think it is, and
It's
all these
not.
people being like coconut oil is the best thing ever. It's not.
It's not.
Oh, man.
Butter's actually probably better than
It's a
coconut oil.
fucking shame.
Wow.
I
love
think the
coconut
moral
oil.
of the
I love a
story at
scrambled
the end
egg
of
with
this
coconut
podcast
oil.
is going to be everything in moderation.
Yeah.
That's my motto in life, although I'm really bad at following it.
Me too.
I love to be
too.
excessive.
I was saying to Lucy today, I have a very balanced varied diet, but everything's in excess.
Excess. Yeah. I love excess. So basically things like chocolate and also beer and wine, it always used to be like, nope, they're bad.
Yeah.
But actually now it's turned out that they have a whole range of these bioactive compounds in them called polyphenols that are actually really good for you. But again, in moderation. Coffee, there's recent studies that are saying now that actually consumption of coffee is linked to improved health outcomes. Not too much coffee, again, moderation. So like not 8 cups a day, it's like 2 cups a day is good. And things like that. And then this article was saying how now the next thing is eggs. And the actual title of the article was something about swapping your egg white omelette back to a whole egg omelette. And I was like, yeah.
I fucking hate this whole egg
White omelets are so boring.
Right?
It's like the yolk is the fun part. Why are you taking it out?
So in my house, eggs used to be like a big thing. Like eggs, we have this thing, well, it's English breakfast, but we call it big breakfast. Like as we eat it all together. And then I guess like in Ghanaian culture or whatever, because eggs are relatively easy to get and cheap, and it's a good source of protein. People used to eat a lot of eggs. So when I was younger, my mum was like, have an egg with your kenke, have an egg with your fufu, have an egg with your breakfast, all this stuff. And then she was like, no, eggs are high in cholesterol. You only can have 2 a week, and that's it.
Wow.
Right? And then I was like, okay, well, my mum knows, isn't it?
The big egg ban.
The big egg ban. Oh, it shocked us for a bit, honestly. Like, as a family, our core was shaken. Anyway, so and then I got older and I started having like scrambled eggs every day for breakfast. Mum was like, she was like, too much eggs. I was like, Mum, the yolk is where the nutrients are. Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, no, only twice a week. Shouldn't be having that much. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, you've just taken all the facts I was going to tell you.
Oh!
Oh, no, this is really good because because this is exactly why, like, I was like, I'm going to do this paper, because that's such a strong belief. Like, I remember when I was younger, my mum coming out with all this and, like, talking to my granny about it. And also I have an interesting story about my own personal journey with eggs as well, which I'll go into. But I didn't eat eggs when I was younger. But yeah, and I was always just a bit impartial to this. But now that I love eggs, this is all really interesting to me. And yeah, it's reversing that message and saying, like, actually the reason that health message was put out about eggs was purely because of their cholesterol content. So a lot of the like all the heart foundations and like the different organizations that cholesterol was an issue for, so it's mainly heart health, came out and were like, okay, I think the first guideline was like you shouldn't have more than 300 milligrams of cholesterol a day, and then the next guideline was like, actually you should have less than 200, and a normal egg has 250, so that's one egg.
Yeah.
Like, so you're kind of like, you know, if you're having your eggs every day, apparently you're fucked. But they were just thinking about the cholesterol content. They weren't thinking about the egg as a whole, and how like nutrient interactions and things like this happen. And eggs are they're really, and as you said, they're cheap and they're so easy to get, and they're just great. I fucking love eggs.
I fucking love eggs.
And
you know the worst thing to come out of this whole egg ban is the cartons of egg white. That shit is so disgusting. Like, gross. What the fuck?
what do you mean?
Like, you know, you can
These
buy
are
the
egg whites,
cartons
yeah.
of just egg
Like
whites.
you can 12 egg whites.
They're
just
so,
doing
it's
it.
like long life milk. You don't trust that shit.
You can buy like egg white powder as well. That's even worse.
Yeah,
It's disgusting. It
yeah.
stinks.
Yeah.
I have a personal invested interest in it because of something to do with my study, which all will be revealed in 3 years' time.
Oh, the suspense.
Stay tuned.
Don't hold your breath. So this study is looking into that. So there's been like a good bit of research into this and looking at the associations that were made way back in the day, because they weren't what we would call high quality evidence, and people realized that and we're like, okay, let's investigate this further. So this study is called, I'll read out the title. So it's called The Effect of a High Egg Diet on Cardiometabolic Risk Factors in People with Type 2 Diabetes. The diabetes and egg, in brackets, diabeg.
Fuck's sake.
Study. Randomized
leaving.
weight loss.
As a professional writer and journalist, how do you feel about that?
0 out of 10. I'm joking. No, sorry, 3.
I can't wait for in 3 years' time when I can reveal what my acronym for my study was potentially going to be when they were leaving it up to me. It was terrible.
It was
You wouldn't be
Oh
impressed.
my gosh.
It was worse than diabetic. But yeah, so basically what they did was they recruited all these people that had either diabetes or pre-diabetes, so that's markers that show that they're almost approaching diabetes. And they randomized them to either a weight loss diet, so that's just general weight loss advice, so it was a high egg weight loss diet or a low egg weight loss diet. And the high egg weight loss diet, they had 12 eggs a week. And the low egg weight loss diet, they were instructed to have less than 2. So either 1 or 0.
Oh, shame.
And they had to eat this for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were all sent home. They'd come in at the start and they'd see a dietitian. The dietitian would give them general advice on like a diet that was giving them a calorie deficit of 500 calories. So they would calculate the amounts that they needed, their energy requirements, and then they'd cut that by 500. So they wanted them to lose weight, but they wanted to see the effect of if they were eating eggs and losing weight, or if they weren't eating eggs and losing weight, and if there was going to be any difference in terms of their risk for worsening their diabetes or cardiovascular risk or anything like that. And with this, as I said, they did a weight maintenance diet for 3 months. So that was, they didn't have any calorie deficit. They just gave them all advice to maintain the calories they needed. One of them had 12 eggs a week and the other one had less than 2 eggs a week. And saw what happened in terms of all their markers for cardiovascular risk, which would be like high lipids in your blood, so your blood fats and that type of thing, blood pressure, etc. And so whatever group they were randomized to in that, so if they were on the weight maintenance high egg, they went on to the weight loss high egg. They didn't swap.
Yeah.
So they're essentially eating high egg for 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, they went on to this and they wanted to compare it to see, they thought that the high egg group would actually have beneficial effects on their cardiovascular risk factors. So they thought that what we thought before, which was the opposite, was completely, they were trying to flip shit on its head. But actually, it didn't flip shit on its head, but they came out the same. So the group that had high egg intake, so 12 eggs a week, when they compared them to the group that only had 1 or 0 eggs a week, they lost the same amount of weight, they had the same markers of metabolic risk, They all just like stayed stable. The markers of metabolic risk, I think, in all groups went down slightly because they were both on weight loss diets, but it was by the same amount. There was no difference between having eggs or not having eggs. They also had an outcome to see if the diet was favourable, like if they liked it, if they were compliant to it. And they found it acceptable. And they were eating eggs for breakfast every day. So 6 days a week, they got 1 day off. So they had 2 eggs from Monday to Saturday. I don't actually know if it was that. Maybe they were allowed to take a different day of the week off if they felt that way inclined. For 6 months. It's quite a long time. Another interesting outcome from this study was, so normally in weight loss studies, they do a weight loss period followed by a weight maintenance period. So they'll do a calorie deficit, so they'll cut your calories to make you lose weight, and then they'll give you, once you do lose weight, they'll give you further instructions in order to try and maintain that weight loss. And whenever they do weight loss studies, especially in participants and populations that are overweight and obese, they find it really hard during the weight maintenance phase to keep it off. Everybody always goes back up, and that's this, like what we were talking about earlier with diet culture and how all the diets, when you check them in terms of science and this type of experimentation, that the weight maintenance period is where it all goes shit. So you'll lose weight, but you won't keep it off.
Yeah.
You'll put it back on the minute you stop the diet. So what these guys did was they swapped it around. So they wanted to see whether a weight maintenance diet first and then the weight loss phase would have any other effect. And I think it was because they said that there was another study that actually showed that having a weight maintenance period first was favourable in terms of longer term follow-up, keeping the weight off. And they found that was true. So they followed them. They had a weight maintenance period for 3 months, a weight loss period for 3 months, and then they followed them for another 6 months where they said, you don't need to follow any more guidelines from us. You can keep eating the high egg diet if you want, or if you don't want, but we just keep coming back for your visits so we can measure these things. And they all kept the weight off.
Nice.
Yeah. So
how much did they lose?
eggs are brilliant. It was modest. So after 6 months, they lost 3 kilos in both groups.
But that's a poo.
3 pounds is a poo. 3 kilos is like...
For me, that's a poo.
3 bags of sugar. Comes out looking like a waif. She's just like, oh god. No, that sounds like it's smarter anyway, because it's like with the weight management, it's just like you're normalizing your weight first, and then you have that drastic change. Whereas if you're doing weight loss, it's kind of like you're kind of asking for people to just renege on it
to go out.
go back. So.
Yeah. So and then it's like putting them all to kind of like a level playing field first, and then being like, okay, you're just gonna decrease things. But yeah, the eggs came out pretty good. And yet, so their whole thing was that, eggs, like you were saying, are really nutrient dense. So they've quite high levels of vitamin D, iodine, selenium, iron, folate, and omega-3s. And these are all in the yolk. So when you take the yolk out and just have your egg white omelette, all you're getting is protein, which is good for you as well. But
not as
you're
good.
wasting all that good nutrition.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Oh, what was it about? It was about the egg, the yolk. Oh, I've forgotten. Oh, that was a good question as well. Damn. Okay, wait. Cholesterol, that's what I'm going to ask about. So when it was said that it was given this bad rap, was it that people didn't understand the differences in cholesterol and what was like good and bad the same way like about fat, or was it different? It's not that at all. Because in my mind I'm telling myself, it's like, cholesterol has these different dimensions and it's about the type that you're having rather than...
This study reminds me, so this guy, Physeconomics, I'm so, by the way...
Hashtags, it's not sponsored by Physi.
I know, I'm sending him the link to this episode so he can listen how much I'm shouting him out.
Like, shout out.
Yeah. He did a infographic on Instagram about eggs recently, which is what this study reminds me of. And his whole thing was how, it started with this whole thing of people believing it's high in cholesterol, but actually there's the good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs have the good cholesterol.
Yeah.
So you're right, eggs have the good cholesterol, not the bad cholesterol. So even though they are high cholesterol, they're not the cholesterol that's going to affect you in a way that, say, eating something fried.
Because your body synthesizes cholesterol itself, and that's the issue, that they think that if you're eating loads, you're going to increase it even more.
No, one of the things he did say was in the study that he was reading, I think it might have been the one that you're thinking of, their circulating cholesterol wasn't high.
So there's 2 types of circulating cholesterol: HDL, which is good, and LDL, which is bad.
Yeah.
There's more than 2, but no, that is the way around that it is, So LDL, if you've more, and the thing that they look at a lot of the time is the ratio of HDL to LDL. So in this study, their main outcome was HDL. They thought that by eating eggs, you'd actually increase your HDL, your good cholesterol. So what they saw was that you didn't increase it in any, like there was no difference in the increase between the high egg and the low egg group, but there was also no increase in the LDL.
Okay.
So it was just like they're like it's a neutral effect. There's no basis for this whole eggs being high in cholesterol is gonna increase your bad cholesterol and decrease your low cholesterol. It's actually gonna do nothing. You can still lose weight while eating eggs, and then you've got all these other nutrients that you're gonna get from them as well. So actually, eggs is good.
But also, the thing is, there's this whole thing of like people thinking that if you eat certain things, like it's gonna help you lose weight and all these diets and stuff. But it's really just energy in versus energy out, right? So if most
But not all. That's like saying if you eat a donut, that's 300 calories, and vegetables, that's 300 calories.
No. Obviously, nutrient-wise, that's different. But if you're
Yeah.
looking at weight loss,
Yeah.
if you're just looking at weight loss, it's calories in versus calories out. So if these people are
Yeah.
put on a weight loss diet that had 1,300 eggs in it over a certain period of time, but they're put on a diet which is a calorie deficit, then of course they're going to lose weight.
Yeah, but that's why their main outcome was the cholesterol,
Yeah.
because they wanted to see if it would fuck that up, and it didn't.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
I
French
don't even
omelets.
like eggs.
And I forgot.
Oh my god.
So I'm like,
Oh shit.
You've been very quiet for this whole part of it.
yeah, because I don't want to hate on
It's
eggs.
sacrilege. Oh,
No,
eggs are
at
amazing.
School, at school, Gina used to always go on about how it's chicken period, and she's not going to eat it because it's chicken period.
I mean,
Is
that doesn't even really put me off, to be honest.
Is there no form of egg that you like?
Have you had a French omelette? Because I started making those recently, and wow.
so they do an omelette at work that
No,
like,
French omelette.
no,
It's specifically a French omelette.
well, no, they do not serve French omelettes at my workplace, no. But they do one, and it does look delicious. And I had a teeny weeny bite, and I was like, not terrible. I've
Not
been
repulsed.
trying to, but like egg mayo is
Okay.
absolutely repulsive.
Yeah, I can't get on board
Scrambled
with
eggs,
that.
no.
Demelza and I love egg mayo. It's our favourite.
Oh!
Okay, I don't like egg.
No, I
mayo.
hate
You've
egg
just
mayo.
lost me. Like, even I don't know what
Can't
I
handle it,
genuinely
but
don't
it's
know what
more the
happened.
mayo that I have the issue with.
Yeah.
I
like
don't
mayo.
know what happened. I don't like mayo.
I
either
didn't really
because
like white
it's
sauce
it's
apart
made
from
eggs.
aioli.
I'm glad that eggs at least get to clear their name, but like
Justice for eggs.
You're like, I still hate them, but
I still don't want to eat them.
do you
myself.
like prawn mayo?
No. Just,
Okay.
ooh, I
It's
don't
okay.
like
No
mayo.
one, you don't need to eat eggs, Gina.
No, it's
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the low egg
Yeah.
intake group, and
Yeah.
like
She's
I can eat two. I've done this. I'm pretty much sure, like eating 2 eggs a day every morning for my breakfast.
I could do that. I could eat multiple eggs every day.
Yeah.
But you don't obviously mind eggs in things because there was a heavy amount of egg in the meal that we just ate.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's as much as I can
Because
take.
you can't see.
Yeah.
And like sometimes when I'm eating like egg fried rice, if it's a big piece of egg, nah. it's
Yeah,
not
you have to
happening.
avoid.
I mean, that's a bit extra, isn't it? Just eat the egg and go over it. Like, it's in the title. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, I won't get egg.
You
I won't
ordered
get
it.
egg fried rice on purpose. But like,
Okay.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I happen to have it in my face.
I love Gina, but this whole egg thing, sometimes I'm like, still deal breaker.
It's not
It's a
your,
point
it's
of
not your mouth,
contention.
is it? So it's fine.
Whatever.
I
But you
feel
like to
that.
trash it.
I feel
I
that
didn't
with
trust you.
Alice.
I didn't say
Didn't you write an
I'm
article
not
about
getting
how
involved
eggs are
in their whole
disgusting?
little-
Yeah, but I had to. They
Yeah,
paid me
exactly.
for
Egg
that.
slander. Don't mind
This is
her.
quite similar.
I feel that with Alice because she doesn't eat red meat, which means she doesn't eat any sort of burger.
You two
any
need
sort
to
of
let
mince.
people live their lives. How about that?
How about you just don't be fussy?
How about you mind your goddamn business? This is what I mean. We and Curie aren't friends anymore, guys. It's over.
It's alright. You're better off without her. You eat your eggs in peace, okay? No,
I will.
no egg shaming.
No, but we had such good moments earlier with
It's
the
alright.
fasting and the-
You can find others.
and the diet
There's
culture
others.
and-
Don't worry.
Yeah, we
Shit is
did.
hitting the fan here at the Layout Out podcast. Friendships
Really
are
laying it
ending.
out.
Yeah.
Really laying it out. It's just
We
like
did lay it
it's
out.
Eggs
over.
are getting.
The eggs are
The episode is
Eggs
closing. It
justice
says
has
our
been-
friendship.
Eggs have been given their justice.
Yeah, no, I'm
Eggs
happy
have
they
been
have their
served. They've been
justice.
given their
They-
justice.
they have.
Yeah, they're allowed to. They have a seat at the table. If you will.
I'm after just doing my paper in I think 15 minutes because that last 4 minutes is probably us
That's very
shouting
good.
at each other.
We normally spend about half an hour on our papers.
You spent a lot longer.
That's because my paper's a lot longer.
True.
Yeah.
My paper
I
is like
covered-
going back to like baby science.
I covered 3 species of animal.
I'd really like to know the science.
Of living
news.
organism.
Yes.
Yeast isn't an animal.
Oh.
No, you know what?
Fuck
That's a real
off.
friend because she's checking you. You know?
I am.
She's checking
I'm
you.
doing this for
Yeah.
Just to find the
scientific
flavors of
reputation.
beef.
I feel like
beef
there's
that she doesn't even
divide.
eat.
Do you know what?
Huh?
I think I've
Beef
been.
that she doesn't even eat.
Oh,
I think I've been too nice to you recently. I'm gonna start being mean again.
what? No, Curie.
No, because
Look what
Curie.
you've done.
no,
All
because
this egg hate.
Why are you such a Sarah?
Sometimes Curie's really nice to me, and she'll come in and she'll be like, your skin looks really nice today. And then the next day she'll come in and be like, your hair's looking really nice. Then the next day she'll come in and she'll be like, have you lost weight? And then I'm like, oh. And I'll think I'm like really great. But then you don't like go through periods where you insult me.
I don't insult you. But
you're just like, why are we friends? Like I tell you things and
Wow,
you're
that
like,
is the most Curie sentence.
yeah. You're like,
why are we friends?
you're like, if I'd known you like 5 years ago.
Oh my god, Curie loves saying that shit.
Yeah.
She loves saying that.
Yeah.
If I would have met you like 5 years ago, we would not have been friends.
Yeah.
No, but Gina,
She says that to
hang on.
me weekly.
I would never have said that to you because we've been friends since we were 12.
No, I know, but you do say that.
Well, maybe if you'd met her when you were 7, you wouldn't have liked her.
Maybe. Or no, it's more like if I'd known me now.
yeah,
as
then you
young,
wouldn't have.
then I
Yeah,
wouldn't have.
yeah.
All I do to Gina is that whenever she like accomplishes something, I'm like, you bitch, you didn't tell me that you're in this book. What the fuck is going on here? That's what I'll tell her.
No, you just have to accept it. Gina doesn't tell me anything. I always find out through social media.
Isn't that the worst? I'll be like, I literally just spoke to you, and then she's like, hi guys, I was on BBC Radio 4. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like,
This is why I hate eggs.
we're in tune, we're alert. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. But no.
They've ruined my life.
Right, anyway. Thanks so much, guys. Did you enjoy it?
Yes,
Do you
thank
have
you for
final thoughts about either paper?
I was happy to have a lovely open discussion about the 5-2 diet and intermittent fasting and also eggs. Thank you.
I thought that was going to be flipped around and you're like, and I hate eggs.
No, I'm open to you guys.
This has turned into a very nutrition-y
Podcast
episode.
in general.
Yeah.
But remember you had an epiphany recently about how you actually do need to accept that you are somewhat nutrition based in your PhD.
But I'm still mostly neuroscience.
No, I know you are, but I remember you being like, I think I just have to accept that I'm going to be lumped in with the nutritionists from time to time.
Yeah.
You're going to the Nutrition Society conference and I'm not even going to that.
Yeah. It's just not somewhere I thought my life was headed, you know?
No, but here we are.
All right.
I think I want to try intermittent fasting, and I'm going to continue to eat and celebrate eggs because they deserve.
Praise be the eggs.
Yes, praise be the
Sorry,
eggs.
Gina.
I'm going to send you a picture.
I
of
don't
me
mind if you
eating
eat eggs. That's
tomorrow.
your business, but
You do mind because you make comments on it.
Do you
I
kiss,
don't.
Do you kiss guys just after they've eaten eggs?
no.
That's a weird
not.
fetish.
But I don't think I
The whole
would even have
Pornhub
that.
genre.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
What would that be called? Not diabeg. What would it be called?
People eat eggs. So, the thing is, I genuinely don't like, just to end to clear my name because Natalie wants to drag it through the mud regarding eggs. But like, eggs are so prominent that like I wouldn't be able to live if I made comments about people eating eggs all the time.
You show a little bit of disdain. Tiny, but a little bit. Like, if
When's the last time you even ate an egg around me? It's not as if you carry them in your pocket.
I don't know. I don't eat them around you, but like
So
I
what
think
do you mean?
I think I've mentioned like a brunch or something where like I'm like eggs.
No,
is the
you
thing.
haven't. Our topic of conversation is not,
Lower
I ate eggs
your
today
voice.
at a brunch. Like,
Lower
I'd be
your
like, I don't
voice.
give a shit about your eggs and your brunch. Thank you, goodbye. Good fun.
Where's the popcorn? I need
Yeah,
a
I know,
popcorn.
we do need popcorn.
Okay,
Should
great.
have
Do you guys
mentioned
have
eggs.
any social media that you want to promote?
Yes, my Twitter is @SmileGina, is GENA, and also I run an Instagram for lipstick.
It's amazing.
Lipstick.
She's basically famous.
Thank
and also,
you.
I'm taking total credit for it because I was the first person ever to give her coloured lipstick.
That is very true. That is true. It's called Pout Gina, also GENA.
And for me, just follow everything Well Black Chili. You can Google us and you'll find us. That's on Twitter. We don't have an Instagram, but we have a Gmail, a Tumblr that's barely updated, and a podcast with a new episode coming soon.
When? I've been waiting.
This week.
Why are you going to say that, Natalie? It's not coming
I've
this
been
week.
waiting.
Next week. It will next week.
Natalie, I've been waiting for months.
That's not months. It's been like a month.
I
It's been
waited-
a month.
I waited like 6 months for your Christmas episode to come out.
Listen, it's just life is hard, guys. Okay, and we've been through a lot of changes since that like winter time. You know.
Also, can I come on it?
yeah,
Sure.
for sure.
Of course.
For sure.
I mean, you're not well black, but you can.
She's the actually part. Actually.
You can be there.
Actually.
All right, this is fun. Thank
But
you.
yeah, I want to know that Science News website that you read this on. 'Cause I
Yeah, I actually want to know that
Oh,
too.
okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Great. So you can also read our blog written by the lovely Silent Demels at layitoutpodcast.wordpress.com.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter on @LaterPodcast.
You can email us on layitoutpodcast@gmail.com. Please send us any news or articles you see that you might want for us to go real into and show you how actually boring they are. And
We love to make things more boring.
We do. And if you are, whatever you're listening to us on, please rate us 5 stars. We are on all platforms. So rate us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. And can we please get some more fan mail?
We're not on Spotify.
Yeah.
No, we are.
I can never find us on Spotify.
Guys, we're on Spotify now.
Woo!
Except we're really hard to find.
Our Spotify only got approved a few days ago.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, that makes
So
sense.
you can find us on Spotify now as well.
We're on Spotify.
And CoFresh sponsor us. We haven't forgotten about you. We still love you. I know we don't talk about you enough in the episodes anymore. I'm really sorry. We'll dedicate a whole few minutes to you next week. Jamel's alright some Bombay mix today, and I've run out, so I need to buy some. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 5 stars now.
This episode's gonna be a mess. This is gonna be another episode 9.
Are either of you vegan?
But I'd say I'm a vegan that likes meat and cheese. Well, no, listen, it's a spectrum.
Veganism is not a spectrum. It's like literally the only thing that's not a spectrum.